Okay, so far on YouTube, we got to the point where we know what's on the programs, we know what the programs are inspired of, we know what to do with the programs as far as, being able to make the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the separation of powers, um, the Declaration of Independence, and process of elimination, and Haraba code more adaptable. And it's pretty much as you using majority of those things in world history as you making a more faithful tradition for yourself. This pretty much using more majority of 2038 to 3848, and being able to use a larger memoir for the landscapes at the hour of Office Depot, Enterprise, Interscopes, Enterprise Moguls, and working with other displays and programs on the websites is pretty much where you see these things more interactive with each other, and being able to know more about separation of powers from the Declaration of Independence, with the Bill of Rights being assorted in those characteristics and categories, more than natural at the time. So, that's being able to use those insights as you focus yourself on protein, cholesterol, carbohydrates, eating in a healthy sports way. You like basketball. Basketball is the most parallel sport to play, especially when you got nothing to do, or it's in your jurisdiction to play basketball, or you have to play basketball just because um, mom or dad or grandpa made you or something like that. That's pretty much what you're going through at these days of middle school and web, these days of 2018 to 2028. So, it's pretty much using bigger focals of higher dimensions of at least $98 million in reference being able to be sold at the time. So, I was working with 1998, 9838, and, being able to deal with 3121 as well, and dealing with it, on a level of advanced comprehension at the time. So, it's being able to deal with static, and, deal with, languages, and understanding more about the broad concept that happens in your local counties nowadays, more than it just being Crockett and Reagan, or Travis and Lanier, or Eastside and LBJ. And it's pretty much where you're using stuff like that to um, use more for the veiled common sense of how to make better components and compounds for the regular amount of population that shows up at the retail property, or at the um, commercial property. So it's pretty much where you're looking at the detail of that, and he's sharing more of 39.91% of interest in data. So it's pretty much where you're using more of 30 million instead of 3.9 million, and making different depositions as far as the leads go, and making more for the prominent factor of how to promote more for the proposition of those leads, which is using city traffic. transcripts and documents at the time. So that's pretty much as they go. Other than that, we are focusing ourselves on other than that, we are focusing ourselves on other than that, we are focusing ourselves on world history of world government. That's pretty much where you're using a certain strand of Great Plains government and, being able to use a strand from the great governments and, being able to figure out a classification between those strands of 1953 and 2053 as we make more deposition from 2022 to 2023. So, it's pretty much working with a year of dimensions within that area and, being able to get that deposition clarified and completed is pretty much what we was working with. Other than that, you are working with how to promote more for tax at the time. So, it's working with the tax services of EcoLeaf mega platforms. Is worth about 74.44 and 95 cents. So that's the tax services, and basically what you learn is nothing but positive promotions at the time as it make more positive payments and more positive deposits for transcripts. And so I was working with more of that's working with it just got something to do with a job. You got to know what a job is to know what to do. So you can't be like 3 years old or in third grade if you don't know what a job is, or if you never figured out what a job was. So it's pretty much where you're working with those decencies. So that's pretty much working with that digital detail versus it being not concentrated. You don't want it to be not constant. You don't want it to be constant. You don't want it to be not concentrated. So that's pretty much what we're working with as far as that go. So other than that, that's pretty much looking at three extra points than the average normal at the time. So that's pretty much where you're looking at different points within the regions. of one whole unit or one whole point or one whole coordinate. You see how you haven't even got you haven't even got all the points filled, but you got more than 3 filled. So that's pretty much where you're working with at least 10th grade to 12th grade annuity coming from Jackson Hewitt. Knowing more about Jackson Hewitt's propelled increase. Being able to know about Jackson Hewitt's propelled increase is pretty much where this is based off of. So being able to know more about having 958 million, and instead of subtracting and instead of dividing, you make 98,000 just off of reference tax or reduced tax or collateral. So, it's being able to use purple, orange, and green classifications of at least 331 subscriptions as you use that $98,000. So, whatever you use, you can use it over and over again, throughout the months. You got at least 57 months where you can make that adequate. So, it's using at least three months total to have a adequate balance for that good stuff. So it's working with 98,980, 380, 680, 450, 9,800, 33, 21, other than that, it's pretty much just basic details. You being able to configure what you being able to configure what you propose to yourself, and being able to put it on your own statistics of data storage is pretty much where you're using that, as you use different districts of the same types of bank account. And this is for Chime, PMC2 squared. This is for Prosperity Banking. This is for All Point Banking. Those are the companies that do that good stuff. So it's just like sharing money, being able to share money, as far as being able to send a wire transfer, or a check deposit. So it's being able to transfer and deposit money. So that's pretty much where you're using more of that example. And the departments that I work in are, in that area as well. So it's transfer and deposit. This is just one of those areas that give you basic notes. This is just one of those companies that give you basic notes on, anything extra that I couldn't tell you, or, that my bosses couldn't tell you that was in my deposition. So, that's pretty much where you're looking at, at least 300 300 yard, 30 yards. You're looking at least 30 yards of valence, and being able to tell that transfer and deposit is part of almost every benefactor in my industries. So, virtually what I mean by my industries is everything that I'm precautious with. Anything that I'm precautious with is pretty much where I'm using more of that detail of how to promote more for the valence that I need to keep driving or keep transitioning through the highway pattern. So it's pretty much going to Lake Line, or that's going to Barton Creek, or that's going to Dale Diamond, or Round Rock, or even in Round Rock Express, extra ultra domes. Being able to look at the whole intent of that is pretty much what I think is needed at the time. So just looking at it is pretty much what I like to imagine at the time. So looking at transfer and deposits. You're looking at transfer and deposits, and being able to look at more transfer and deposits of supply and distribution. And this stuff is just from 1938. So, it's basically stuff that's been going on since the New Deal era, or the House of Burgesses, or the Boston Tea Party. And that's pretty much where you've just been working on that ever since. And that's pretty much where you've been working on transfers and deposits, supply and distribution. You've been working with that as well, for the longest. And that's what you're doing as a district coordinator at all zones, and majority at Mr. Catfish and more. So that's working at least 890 hours as you provide more for a compound combination visit of at least 97 million hours of work being promoted at the time. So it's pretty much working from 2018 to 2026. So that's pretty much where you get more of a blue, green, orange deposition of a Camaro 2020, or Infiniti QX80 2018. So, that's pretty much working with 1997 of 2073 of 2165, or 2365. So, with that, you working with all types of coordinates on that as well. And these are not just codes, but they're just additional composites that you deposit, when you got a little extra cash you can put in. And, this goes good for, not only all point, or MoneyGram, or Chime, PMC2 squared, but American Express as well. So that's just working with all types of symmetries within that major compound, and getting at least 30% clearance back is pretty much where you getting a deal of cash back being transmitted at the same time. So all in all, everything has the same function. You just got to make sure that it has the same definition, being able to know that it has the same definition, and it has the adequate synonyms and subscriptions that go with it is pretty much what you're looking at that half of the time. So, it's pretty much where you're looking at, 98,000. 98,000 being able to be released every nine years. So when you get codes like that, that's basically where you're using your 774 times 4 times 7,400. So, that at this time, you just seeing if what competes the best at this time. Is it going to be a 50 that makes it standard form? Is it going to be standard form, or is it going to be analytical form, which is 20? As a analytical form. So yeah, that's just working with analytical form versus standard form, and these are basically just competing against each other. Which one is more higher rating at the time? Is it after the equation, or is it after you get done looking at this type of preview at the time? Whether it's a portrait or it's a gallery, you're looking at what the preview is going to be. So, that's pretty much what you're looking at that point in time, other than it being transfers and deposits or supply and distribution, which is where I share 78 years of deposits and experience. And this goes from 28 to 2109. This goes from 1928 to 2109. Long live legendary icons. So yeah, that's basically what goes into EcoHerb 747 of Comcast, Tmobile, and Vivo. So that's pretty much where you're working with those details. As you're making more for 500, 100, 400, 4400s, 8800s, 5500s, 520s, 2020s. Making deals and reference like that on PMC2 squared is pretty much what you're looking for as well. So, it's pretty much where you got to be able to look at the difference between EcoHerb 747 and PMC2 squared. Look at the difference between those, and, it's pretty much where you got to understand more of that fever.